Not all Filipino surnames that use indigenous words are actual surnames. Previously, I discussed how surnames in the Tagalog region used to look like, but there's also a couple of indigenous words that seem kind of random, but they aren't. See if you can spot the connection here. For example, previously I talked about a video by Nick Ordones, whose grandmother was named Mabini. That was her given name. And in the same video, I also mentioned the first Philippine Prime Minister, Apolinario Mabini. In the Tondo Conspiracy of 1587, one of the suspects was a local lord called Gao-Bao, and then in 1913, the Secretary of the Philippine Assembly was called Teodoro Gao-Bao. In one of my earliest videos, I mentioned how one of the sons of Raja Matanda, also known as Aki, was called Ilao. The Spanish renamed him as Don Luis Ilao. And then centuries later, you have politicians like Dan Ilao. I personally know a person with a given name Dalisay, but I also know people with a surname Dalisay. Hopefully you can already see the system. So when we go back to this one contract that I showed from 1625 by Maria Daga, you can see how her Spanish name is Maria, and then her actual given name, her indigenous name is Daga. But if you don't know any better, it looks as if Maria is her given name and then Daga is her surname. When the Spanish forced people to take on surnames starting with November 21st, 1849, there were some exceptions. The seemingly random words that you see are oftentimes people's actual given names. If your surname is Mabini, you had an ancestor named Mabini. If your surname is Ilao, you had an ancestor named Ilao, and so on and so forth. Pre-colonial Filipinos were by and large syncretistic in their belief systems. They very much believed that nature was alive and oftentimes would name their children based on occurrences that took place when they were born. So Princess Candarapa, for example, whose name I already explained in a previous video, was named after the Philippine nightjar, a bird that was commonly sighted near her palace. Kalao, meanwhile, is a rufous hornbill, and those could very often be heard through the Philippine rainforest. I had also previously mentioned how the name Hamabao, the birth name of Humabon, the person who ran into Ferdinand Magellan, his given name refers to the calm ocean water at the beach. I also explained how not all names refer to nature. For example, another kid of Raja Matanda was Don Ambrosio Mag-isa. Mag-isa means either to unite or to be alone. His sister was called Bulak Tala. Bulak means cotton. Tala refers to the stars. I made a very long video explaining this. It's too long to explain here. Or there's names like Paraluman. Paraluman means compass in Tagalog. But sometimes you would also see names based on times of day when the child was born. For example, Liwayway means dawn, and so the child was probably born at dawn. Aga means early, so the kid was also probably born early. And in some instances, these given names were then taken as surnames, and then they just stuck. Hope this helps. One last thing, you can also follow this channel if you want to get updates or learn about Tagalog or know what's up with me. But also you can go to Steam or itch and wishlist Gulo Gulo, the Tiny Pirate Island Time. That would be grand. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.